The Lone Star holster is engineered after a holster style associated with Texas Ranger Captain John Hughes and Texas law enforcement officer Tom Threepersons. In his career as a Texas Ranger, Hughes's first holsters may have been made by the King's Ranch Saddle Shop in Kingsville, Texas. Later, he had Sam T.O. Myres of S.D. Myres Saddle Company in El Paso make his holsters. But this style of holster was probably introduced when A.W. Brill of A.W. Brill Company of Austin designed it specifically for Hughes. The Brill holster incorporates aspects of the sleek engineering of S.D. Myres Saddle Company's Tom Three-Person holster, introduced in 1925. From 1932 on, many of the A.W. Brill holsters were made by N.J. Ravensburg, who later owned and ran the A.W. Brill Company. This style of holster was transitional and became popular with the ending of the Old West. Two specific forces spurred the development of this new style of holster. One was pragmatic, one was gentlemen's fashions. When the Comanches were subdued and subjugated, there wasn't a pressing need for Texans to travel with a cartridge belt carrying 20 to 30 bullets. Texans didn't have to fight off surprise war parties anymore. And most arguments between Texans could be settled with just a few rounds. So, a sidearm loaded with 5 or 6 shots was sufficient firepower for everyday carry. Without the need for a cartridge belt, a sidearm could be carried on a narrow pant belt. In gentlemen's fashions, suspenders were becoming redundant with the increased use of pant belts. Even though sewing belt loops onto trousers wouldn't become a common practice until the 1920s, pant belts were gaining in popularity. Men's fashion was ready for a new holster to be worn on a pant belt. In general, Texans in large cities were beginning to think of themselves as cosmopolitan, cultured, and civilized. Only rubes and coarse fellows openly brandished firearms. Wearing a gun on the hip wasn't what gentlemen did. But neither did these gentlemen want to go about unarmed. So, a high-riding holster worn on a pant belt, concealed from view by a coat, became the fashion in holster styles. This new style of holster was practical and caught on quickly. Even Texas Rangers began carrying on pant belts. It was a transitional age that affected personal carry of sidearms. Even today, this holster style from Texas influences the engineering of civilian and law enforcement holsters. The Lone Star holster is not a replica of any specific holster, but pays homage to the style of holster birthed in Texas. Engineered to be manufactured by hand without expensive equipment, the Lone Star holster is ideal for small operations. With little effort, it can be also adapted to larger scale production. The Lone Star meets the needs for a classic holster for double-action revolvers as well as the 1911 with that vintage look. Although historic in design, it's a practical holster for modern carry. And while designed to be worn on a pant belt, the holster is easily adapted to duty, utility, and gun belts with a pattern, instructions, and illustrations. The Lone Star holster pattern is available directly from Will Ghormley, or can be ordered from the Leathercrafters and Saddlers Journal online store.